Alright, so today I'm going to tackle the restoration of the leather here on the steering wheel, redoing steering wheel. Really easy process. I did this before on my other older car, the Trofeo. Basically, you need some crack and crease filler or leather filler, some sandpaper, and of course some leather dye. Now, there's a lot of different companies out there who will either match the leather or will have GM specific or manufacturer specific leather dyes available. So first step I'm going to do is sand all this rough area down, get it nice and smooth, and then fill in the cracks with the crack filler and let that dry and go from there. Alright, so I ended up using these sandpaper pads. I forgot I had them. They're a little bit of foam, and they're different grits, 320, 1000, and 1500. So I just kind of worked my way around the wheel, and now it's quite smooth. You could just feel it. However, it's also got a fine dust on it. So before I do any of the leather and crack crease filler, I use rubbing alcohol, and I just wipe it all down and try to get it as clean as possible. Alright, all cleaned off, dried, and I'm going to use this crack and crease filler. And I'm just going to do a slight skim just to soothe it up. Now, it does come with this little thing, but what I end up doing is I put it on and then I just kind of spread it with my finger. Once it totally dries, I'm going to take very, very fine sandpaper and just do a very fine sand so this is smooth. The great thing about this filler is that it's soft and pliable, so it will have the same feel as leather of a leather steering wheel. And I want a consistent coat so that when I go to dye it, the dye will dye consistently all over the wheel. Now you can wait a while for this to completely dry and harden, or if you're in a hurry, you can get a hair dryer and blow dry it and make sure it's really dry from that. Alright, I've let it dry. I smoothed it out with a very light grit sandpaper. It feels smooth. Wiping it down, the next is going to be to apply the dye. Now the dye you have to put on in several light coats, not one big one. So the first time I put it on, it's probably not going to look good. So it takes several coats to really get in there. I am going to tape off the plastic so I don't get any dye on the plastic here, and I'm also always keeping the towel here because I don't want a mistake to happen and dye something else I don't want dyed. And I always have a rag because mistakes always happen. Alright, so I've done 2 coats, actually 3, let it dry, blew dry it. It looks pretty good. The color was an off-the-shelf color, so I didn't do the color match. It's a slightly more tan, less caramely. But before I finish, I do a little polish just to get it as smooth as possible. And then I have a protective coating that came with the leather restoration that puts just a little clear coat on it to protect it. So I'm just going to polish it out. Alright, so I kind of polished it out. Now I'm going to put this top coat, which is just a clear protective coating for leather repairs. So in this case, I'm just going to put a little. Alright, there you go, finished product. As you can see, slight color differential, so Maybe if I do a color match with the seats, I might put another coat on this that's just that color, but 100% improvement from what it was. And I could keep polishing it, but you know, as soon as you start using it, putting your fingers on it, it's going to start wearing anyway. So there it is, couple hour project. If you like what you're watching, subscribe and follow all my endeavors as I restore old cars from the 80s and 90s. Thanks for watching.
The great American